I'm Tom from DIY Life Tech, and this is a look at my R&D Instruments thickness detector for coatings. So this is a really great technical device, and what it's used for is detecting the thickness of coatings on various metals and also telling you what kind of metal you're dealing with. So it's useful for a bunch of different things. Again, a pretty technical tool, but really helpful if you have this particular need. So the first thing, I'll just switch this on. I'm going to go ahead and press the power button here. It's going to take a second to calibrate, and then we'll see this comes on. And we can see a couple of different things here. So we see the Fe indicates that we're dealing with a ferrous metal. This is measuring in micrometers. We can also switch this over to mils there, so we can change different units. What we're going to do is basically take this probe, and if we put this against any kind of metal, it's going to tell us a couple of things about that metal. And firstly, it's going to tell us, again, if it's ferrous or non-ferrous. It can also tell you if it is a galvanized coating on it. And then it's going to tell you actually the exact thickness, again, down to the micrometer here of the coating on that metal, whether that's paint or whatever, plastic, whatever kind of coating you've got on there. So let's test it. This is the top of my filing cabinet. And I know this is a ferrous metal, and it's got a black kind of enamel coating. So I'm going to go ahead and press this down, and it's going to take a reading. Indeed, it says Fe, ferrous, and it's going to give me the reading of the thickness of the coating, 97.6 micrometers. Now, I can also change the setting here for single. SNG means a single reading. I can also take a continuous reading if I want to be moving this around. I'm just going to stay in the single reading setting here. So let's try something else. So this is my car. I know that it's not ferrous, and it's, I'm not sure exactly what it is. Maybe it's aluminum, maybe it's a fiberglass. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and press this down here, and it's going to tell me non-ferrous, NF, and coating thickness of 123 micrometers. So this is helpful for some practical applications aside from just knowing the thickness of the paint. If you're looking at a car, maybe you're trying to buy a used car and you want to know whether something has been repaired and repainted, you can actually use this to detect that. So you can tell if one part of the car has a very different thickness of coating on it, then that's probably been painted twice, and maybe that's been repaired, and there's a repair that that wasn't disclosed or that you want to know about. So it's helpful to have that information by using this meter. Another useful application, if you're going to try to recycle metal and you want to know what you're dealing with, it's really helpful. So say I've got this random piece of metal, I have no idea what this is made out of. I can go ahead and use the probe on it. It's going to tell me, hey, this is a ferrous metal, so I know that would be recycled with ferrous metals, not with aluminum, that kind of thing. You can see I'm testing the continuous reading here, where I can move the probe around and I can get a continuous reading of the thickness of the coating on there. And the other thing the probe can do is detect a galvanized coating. So again, for recycling, we would want to know if metal, especially if it's going to be melted down, you'd want to know if metal has a zinc coating and is thus galvanized. So this I know is galvanized, and you can see when I put the meter on it, it's going to tell me Fe, so ferrous plus Zn for zinc. So it's got a galvanized coating on top of a ferrous metal here. So if I was, this is just a part of my weightlifting rack here, but if I received this and I was going to try to recycle it and I had no idea whether it was galvanized or just maybe had another metallic coating on it, I can actually see that it does have that zinc coating on top of it. Likewise, I could identify metals that are non-ferrous and that would be recycled along with aluminum and copper and brass and that kind of thing. And the final thing I think is helpful is to detect things that aren't, in fact, metal, or at least have a thick coating that's non-metallic. So you can see with this is detecting that it's actually a plastic coating on top of here, and it's not metal. You're just going to get no reading on the meter whatsoever. Same deal on like a wooden surface like this. You'll see there's not going to be a reading at all. So to me, the coolest thing about this is just the ability to detect whether something is ferrous, non-ferrous, or a zinc-coated ferrous metal, again, for recycling purposes or just general knowledge about what you're dealing with in terms of materials. The thickness of the coating is also really cool to be able to see whether parts of an object have been repainted multiple times, or whether you're dealing with the same thickness of coating across the entire object. This is just a really good technical meter for that. I was given this to test, so thank you for that. This is a free unit for me to evaluate. The final thing I would say here is that there's an ability to calibrate the unit, so it comes with some various little calibration plates that have a particular very specific thickness of coating, and you can use a calibration function to actually keep this meter accurate. But I found it's pretty accurate coming right out of the box. And also, I find that my main application for it is not really testing the thickness of coatings. It's more testing whether something is ferrous, non-ferrous, or galvanized. And that's something where you don't really need to do the calibration for it. So if you're using it to measure thickness of coatings, go ahead, definitely calibrate it with those included pieces. But if not, just for recycling metals and that kind of thing, it's helpful just to be able to determine ferrous, non-ferrous, galvanized. If we switch it back off again, just pressing the button here. And that'll switch off in a second. So yeah, thank you again to R&D Instruments for sending me this. This is the ET360.